Welcome back to the Mastering Runeterra podcast with Jay and Bay, the #1 source for competitive Legends of Runeterra news and information. If you're looking for the best decks to play right now, be sure to check us out on Twitter at Master Runeterra or in our Discord. And if you want to take the next step in leveling up your game, check out our Runeterra team on Patreon, where we do weekly learning calls and one-on-one coaching. Now strap in and grab yourself some Poro snacks, because we are about to start Mastering Runeterra.
Welcome back to the Mastering Runeterra.
Every time.
Not every time. Sometimes
60%.
Sometimes they're good. Okay. Welcome back to the Mastering Runeterra podcast with Jay and Bay. We've got a fantastic show for you today. Before we jump into all that, though, we want to thank all of our patrons over on Patreon for supporting us, letting us bring you awesome stuff like this podcast and our website, masteringruneterra.com, and all the other little things that we do. So thank you guys so much. It really, we couldn't do what we do without you. We wouldn't have made it this far without you. So thank you. Seriously. Okay. So, Bay, welcome back, by the way.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah. Well, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yep.
Let's back it up a little bit. What have you been up to? What'd you do last weekend? How'd it go?
I went and played some more Flesh and Blood at the Orlando Calling. Yeah, I've been on a bit of a Flesh and Blood kick lately. I really enjoy it. And this was the last event that they had scheduled. And so I just went and I was like, whatever. I'll spend a weekend. I'll do that. And then that was okay, here's your 3 weeks where you play Flesh and Blood. And then I was like, and then after that, I have 2 to 3 weeks before seasonals. And so I was like, you play Flesh and Blood, you have a good time, try something new. It's like a vacation, right? And then after that, it's like, dive in, Runeterra, get good, get to Masters, which I'm not yet. And then, and so here I am back, obviously. Excited about the new cards. Been playing a bit. The climb has been really steady. Every when I am playing games off stream and off YouTube, I'm winning almost all of them. So not really worried about getting to Masters. It's not I'm trying for hours a day and I'm just stuck at Diamond, right? I'm doing fine.
Shots fired. I'm still in Plat. Okay. I also
how many ranked games have you played this season?
I'm gonna go with about, let's say 30.
Yeah, exactly. I think I played. I played 100 and something, and most of those are just me messing around on stream or recording for YouTube. This was a big developmental season for us, you and I.
Yes.
With Mastering Runeterra, we did a lot of work.
Website, baby.
Stuff. Website launched. It's looking good. We got some sick stuff. The best of 3 ban helper, by the way, is the coolest thing. If you guys haven't, I think we've talked about it on here, but I'm gonna talk about it again. We have on the Mastering Runeterra website a best of 3 ban helper. You put, because that's hard, right?
Yeah.
Knowing what to ban is really tough. We get asked those questions all the time. So you put in your 3 decks and your opponent's 3 decks, and it gives you a grid, a 3x3 grid of all the matchups. It just boom, right there, right? This is 27%. This is 50-40 or 50-50. This is 60-40. And then you can pick from, using that information. I just thought that was the coolest thing.
Yeah, very, very helpful. Because let's be real. None of us are, typically, very few of us are putting in the time it takes to know exactly what the matchups are like for all your decks. And if you're like me, you just pick your decks I don't know, an hour before the tournament starts. You just I don't know, these ones look like fun. And
I won a couple ranked games with this last night. We'll run this one.
Yeah, right? JO1 said this is he won a bunch of games with this yesterday, so that must be good. So yeah, that thing is super helpful. I've started to use it a lot, and love it. Speaking of climbing to Masters and whatnot, though, there are not a lot of people in Masters currently.
No, there's no Worlds qualification. This is the break. This is the off season for Runeterra right now. And then seasonals is going to come, and it's still a seasonals. It just doesn't matter for Worlds or anything. or whatever that will look like next year. And so, yeah, if you're like, people were looking to take a break, now would be the time. And I do expect, though, that like this seasonal will happen. It'll be cool. It'll be a seasonal like every other. And then there will be the new set release. And then I'm assuming organized play will kick off again. And people are going to really grind again. People are going to like jump back on it, and they're going to jump back on it hard.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Not only is it a season that kind of like doesn't count for anything per se, or qualify you for anything, but also it's been a long time we're in that lull of getting like a lot of new cards. Like, yeah, we just got Jason in these new cards, but like we didn't get a whole set release like we normally do, what we're used to at the beginning of a season. So it's kind of like that double lull. And I agree. I think this is also a good time to. Well, I should finish my thought there. I think you're right. December hits, bunch of new cards come out. January comes, we've got big patch again. That's going to change a bunch of things, we assume, because that's what they're saying they're going to be doing now. And then also at the beginning of the year, sometime we're supposed to have the announcement on organized play. And so, yeah, I think things will like pick back up a bunch. I was going to say though that just because it's in a bit of a lull, doesn't mean there's not like a bunch of stuff you can't be doing. So like it's a great time to be what's what I'm looking for here. Trying new things. So, for instance, when all the seasonals qualified you for Worlds and you had to like get seasonal points in each one, I was very hesitant to pull the trigger on like some rogue decks or some like targeting lineup or like, trying to come at the meta from the side. Because like if you get it wrong and you bomb out of one, you're just screwed. So I was very scared of that. But now I don't have that problem. And so I'm definitely looking to play some more rogue decks to see what happens if maybe I go like, I don't know, all aggro or target one of the popular decks. There's lots of things that I'm considering. Trying to go with just comfort decks. Like, what if I just play 3 things that I just really enjoy playing, So, there's pros and cons to everything, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. And I don't horribly dislike, as much as I want organized play to pop off and a bunch of awesome stuff to be going on. It's nice also to take a little bit of a breather because we were breakneck pace
for like months.
Yeah.
Months. Yeah, it was like seasonals top 32, Worlds Open, Worlds top 16. That was like a brutal 2-3 months for me. I was so burnt out afterwards. I was just like, oh my God. But luckily, because we had this little like break, and it's not even that big of a break. Like we've had a lull of cards, but we still have a seasonals, right?
And we just had new cards like yesterday.
Yeah, like 10 new cards or something, which is cool. And so even like this is like the break, and I needed it. And now I get to come back and be like really excited about playing again. Next season, I'm not trying to put a bunch of time onto ladder though this season. I'm gonna hit Masters. I'm gonna qualify for seasonals. I don't think I'll make the push. Maybe I will. For the 7-2.
Yeah. Maybe if you find a deck that you're really
if I find a deck that I really enjoy, like I really like playing the Glorious Evolution Shelfolk deck, which we're going to talk about in a bit. But I don't think it's like the best ladder grinding deck. One, it takes a long time. 2, it's like hard. And yeah. And I don't think it's the best position deck, but it is very good. Again, we'll get to that in a bit. But if I find another deck that I just like playing, like maybe I'll just be like, whatever, I'm just going to run Lisa in for like a really long time. And I climb up a few hundred LP, then yeah, whatever, I'll go for it. But I don't want to like burn myself out just running my head into the wall that is the Masters ladder. Just to get a tiebreaker on a seasonals that's like, 1, I'm not super prepared for. And 2, doesn't have any like big invites attached to it. When I really want to go hard on the ladder next seasonal. I don't want to be coming into the next season. Well, I want to do it anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I plan to win the next seasonal, not this one, the next one. I'm coming to win, and so cool. Yeah, I'm gonna put in
like the fire.
Yeah, I haven't been like that in like.
I know, who are you?
Yeah, who is this guy? No, I'm planning to show up and like I want to be the best this next season, yes. And so I don't want to like be burnt out by just like trying to grind LP for a week, 6 hours a day or whatever. Before that, it's not really worth it. But if I find myself halfway there and I'm enjoying playing, then I'm totally going to go for it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, well, speaking of stuff being new and whatnot and grading the letter, we had a bunch of new cards.
Yep.
So now that you've had a chance to play with some of these, I want to get your thoughts on. Let's start with Jace.
Start with the big one.
Jace himself.
Yep. 4/4 for 4. Can give him quick attacker challenger on play. His level up condition is casting. He doesn't have to see it. 2 6+ cost spells over the course of the game. Jace is not very good.
Yeah.
I know some people are probably really sad to hear that. And I know other people are sitting there and going, but Bay, what about this deck? What about... He's not quite there. Jace is very much like Vi, where he's got a decent stat line, relevant keywords, can control the board a bit, and can win you the game. But the payoff for building your deck around Jace isn't enough, right? You could build your deck around Ezreal, and you get a huge payoff for it, right? You can build your deck around the Plunder guys. Plunder's been seeing a lot of success, and you get a big payoff for it. Scion, Karma, Lee Sin, right? These decks pay you off really big for building into them. Jace isn't like that. He's more of a middle of the road type champ. You throw a couple extra cards into the deck to kind of meet his requirements, and then he's just there and he does his thing. And I don't think his thing or the cards you have to play are enough.
Yeah, I mean, a 4/4 for 4 is not.
It's fine.
It's not. It's not exciting though.
No, I'd rather have Lecturing Yordle.
Lecturing Yordle's bigger. As a champion, you should be the biggest best thing, right? You shouldn't have.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a frontline champion, and Jace is supposed to get in there, but the problem is a 4/4 isn't big enough to have Challenger and really utilize it on 4. And a quick attack 4/4 for 4 is just a good unit. It's like Ren Shadowblade, right? It's fine. You're gonna hit your opponent, and that's not gonna matter. And
would he be too good if he had both?
Oh yeah. He'd be way too good. I thought so. I saw his level 1 or whatever, and I was like, oh, so he has both on level up. And that is not the case. If he had both on level up, I think he'd be very good.
Yeah,
a 5/5 quick attack challenger. I think he'd be insane.
I think that's fair. You should get rewarded for leveling up your champs. And by the time that happens, what is that? Turn 7, 8 that you've leveled him up? And a 4/4 quick attack challenger on turn 8 is that's manageable.
I mean, he's a 5/5, but yeah.
Sure.
Once he levels. I get what you're saying, but I think that would be too good. Because he'd be an insane frontline unit. What I mean by frontline, by the way, if you guys don't know what I mean, is there's 2 different kind of champions. There's the frontline champs that are supposed to get in there. This is your Vi, Fiora, Draven.
Things that attack.
Right? Things that attack. They're supposed to attack. They're built to attack. And then there's your backline units. These are your Ezreal, your Veigar, your Aphelios. They're supposed to stay out Karma. They're supposed to stay out of combat and give you value, right? In other words, usually very strong value. They trade their ability to be combat monsters for big payoffs. Yeah, and those are my favorite kind of champs. But
me too.
Jace would be both if he got both keywords, because he'd be a 5/5 quick attack challenger, and then he'd double your first 6+ cost spell, which would just be insane. It'd be so good.
Yeah. I mean, he'd be good. I don't know if he'd be too good.
Yeah, it's possible, but he'd be
this is the
very
thing.
strong.
I'd rather stuff be strong than
I agree.
not strong enough.
I agree. As long as you're willing to tweak after not too long, right?
That's what I would like to see. I would like to see things come in Jace be a bit of a problem.
Oh, this is really good. Yeah.
Yeah, and then come January, boop, touched you. Nah,
December with new set comes out, maybe we'll tweak his numbers a little bit, right? Yeah, I would like to see that. That's more exciting. And that's we harp on this all the time, but that's the benefit of a digital only card game. Use it.
Yes.
It's your biggest plus.
Yeah. How do we communicate that message even more? I feel like I need to get t-shirts made.
We'll figure it out.
Okay, next card, next thing on the list is the Forge of Tomorrow, which might be my vote for best card.
We're gonna skim over some of the other cards that are made that were in the set. We plan on hitting the big ones, the ones that I think are pretty impactful or that had a lot of hype. And Forge of Tomorrow, I just want to clarify that for the viewers. They're like, what did you talk about this card? Probably because it's bad.
Because it's bad, yeah.
Forge of Tomorrow is not a bad card. This was...
So it was hyped up coming in to the set. It was like, this card looks very good. I think it might be better than the hype even.
Yeah, no, the card's insane. A 3/3 on 3 is just like good. It's just good. It's like the line you want to hit, right? It's like,
it's so
combat
solid.
stats, check, right?
Like, imagine if it was a 2/3, it would be so much worse. Like, that little block Fearsome.
I wouldn't want to play this card anymore. Also, blocking Fearsome is like really important right now. I was just commenting on this because I just did a video today. Today, the video released on JO1's like Jace, Elise, Vi, Shadow Isles control. It's like the new style of Shadow Isles P&Z control where you run the Sentinels, the Fearsome Sentinels. They get bigger once you kill something.
Right.
And I was remarking in the like deck tech just how insane Fearsome is currently. Like it's so good. And so being able to block Fearsome is really important. The 3 health is really important. And then, I think a lot of people definitely, especially in the competitive crowd, expected Forge of Tomorrow to be the best card in this release. And I think they're right. I totally think it is.
Yeah. For anyone that has played competitive anything card games, anytime you can cheat on resources, like cheat on mana, that is typically a very powerful thing to do and often leads to degenerate broken things happening.
Almost always.
Basically always.
Almost every single time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this is what that is doing. This might be at an acceptable rate.
Yes.
At least for a little while.
Until I figure out how to break it in Targon.
Uh-oh.
No, I probably won't, but it's good. It is the best addition you could have added to the Glorious Evolution deck.
Yeah, I think the thing that makes it like sort of palatable is that it's not like something that recurs.
Yeah,
or like it doesn't snowball. Like Burble Fish, like they would snowball together, right? You'd copy them, you'd have more of them, like you just keep going.
It's basically it's just like in its only spell mana. Exactly. If it was unit mana, we'd have a different conversation.
Yes, yeah.
As we learned with Temple.
Yep. So yeah, what are your thoughts on it? Like I've only ever seen it in the one deck. Will it ever
You're either running a Jace deck and you're running it, or you're running the Glorious Evolution deck and you're running it. It's just a really good role player. It's what this Glorious Evolution deck's needed. We will talk about that in a second. But it's just good. It's really good. And you won't play it in everything. Like if you're not planning on casting a bunch of 6+ cost spells, and if you don't have a way to take advantage of the resource coming back to you, right? Like if you play Forge of Tomorrow and you're running like Mystic Shots and Thermo Beams and Sun Fumes, then like you have a great way to take advantage of those extra spell mana. But if your deck doesn't, then like why are you running it? You just run a better unit on Sump Dredge or something, right?
Yeah.
So you won't see it in a ton of decks, but the decks that want to run it are made a lot better by its inclusion.
A lot better, yeah. Okay, well, let's keep moving on. How about... I'm going to screw this one up. Theros Financier.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it either. People keep telling me I'm wrong, but they tell me I'm wrong no matter how I say it, so I just say it differently every single time.
Just assume that nobody actually knows.
Yep. Okay, this is the 2/2 on play. Manifest a 6+ cost spell from your regions. This card's quite good. Think of Conchologist. It's very similar. Almost more in the Loping Telescope range, where like you usually pick like more bigger card, like a bombier card, right? Than like Conchologist, where Conchologist helps you get from like turn 2 to like turn 4 really well. And yeah, it's just like a really solid role player. You definitely want to be running it if you're running Jace. 100%. And then depending on your regions, there's some good 6+ cost spells. Now, I say this a lot because like Mirai Great Mother and now like the Jace stuff, but the problem with these random things is that the majority of 6+ cost spells are like really bad. They suck.
Yeah, but mostly because they're so darn expensive.
They're expensive, right? Yeah. They're expensive, and they're usually really inefficient.
Yes. But they can also be very powerful and swingy.
Yeah, definitely. But the ability to just staple this on a 2/2 is what makes it good. right? Because like I'm playing a 2/2-on-2. I've hit the check mark of the combat stats on curve, right? And I get this effect that is probably synergistic with my deck, right? If you're not running like Jace or Forge of Tomorrow or something that wants the like 6+ cost spell, you're not going to run this card. You're just going to play something else, like Ballistic Bot or Baboon or whatever. But the decks that want to run this are very happy to have something to put on the board early that interacts with the board, and then guarantee themselves that 6+ cost spell for later.
Yeah, like we always talk about the ceiling floor for the card. Like the floor is pretty high.
It's pretty high.
It's a 2-mana 2/2, right? So, like worst case scenario, you're still getting a fine unit, and then a lot of times you get a very powerful card that can be very impactful to the game later on. I love these cards. I'm a big fan.
I'm a big fan. Like Solari Priestess is one of my favorite cards in the game.
Yeah, I also like all these ones that manifest. I like that you get to play with cards that you normally like never would.
I'm not putting True Shot Barrage in my deck, but I sure take that card a lot.
Yeah, right. Okay, moving on. We got Shock Blast. This is Jace's champ spell.
This card's good. 6 mana slow, deal 3 to 2 things. It's only enemy things, but it can be the enemy's nexus, and that part's really important. This card reminds me kind of like Withering Mist, but it's basically like the PNZ version of Withering Mist, where you can hit a unit, you can hit 2 units, and basically like kill them. 3 damage on like turn 5 will kill most things, but you can go face with it, and that's so important. And then if you have Jace and he flips, you could just deal 6 damage to your opponent's face. Just like double shoots them, which is pretty nuts. I'm a big fan of this card.
Yeah.
You're not going to put it in you're not just going to like put it in your PNZ decks though. That's not what it's for.
Right.
I think if you want to hit the 6 cost spell mark, this is like one of the best options. But if you're not trying to do that, I don't think you want to run this.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I've seen a lot of tweets from various people be like, "Oh, I just dealt 12 to my opponent with like just this card, like only 12." So yeah, card does work. Okay, next up, Forge Chief. This is the 1-drop that's a 2/1 and nets you a spell mana each time it deals damage.
Yeah, this card's cool. It's not that great though. It's good. It's very good. The problem is there's almost always better options.
Right, it has to find a specific home.
Yeah, you could run it with Nami. You could run it in like the Fizz Nami PNZ deck, but that deck doesn't really exist anymore.
I do not hate that. That's like kind of hot.
That's pretty decent, right? I just thought of that. But
boom.
Normally in PNZ, especially, like there's a lot of 1-drops in PNZ. And like the premier one is probably like Zonite Urchin, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're making fodder, you're just going to pick Zonite Urchin over this every time.
Urchin's so good.
Yeah. And if you're not, then you might be doing something different, and you might want to move your deck in a different direction. Like there's just probably other cards you would want to play that fit your game plan better. It's just a good 1-drop. Nothing super special about it. It's just a good 1-drop.
Yeah. I've actually yet to see anyone actually play with it.
It's exactly as good as you expect. It's just good.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's nice.
Are there any other ones that you've seen? Like the boat?
The summon 2/2/2 is fine. The 2/3/3s, it's fine. You run it in like Jace, it's fine. The boat is actually quite strong.
Oh, really? What does the boat do exactly? Because when we did the last breakdown, we didn't have that.
Yeah, sorry. It's 7 mana, 6/5 quick attack. On summon, obviously draw Jace, right? And then on attack trigger, it deals 1 damage to your opponent's nexus, and then it adds 1 damage to this effect for every 6+ cost spell you've cast throughout the entire game. So often when you play it, you're already attacking for like 3. Plus the 6/5 quick attack just gets through like everything. It's like a really good card, actually. Yeah, I'm a fan.
Huh. I'll have to keep an eye out for that one.
Mm-hmm. You're not gonna play it without Jace, obviously. That would be ridiculous. But
yeah, I have not yet played any Jace decks.
Super exciting enough for me to like want 5 copies of him in the deck, and that's the boat's biggest problem, is that the boat might actually be better than the champion.
It's so funny. Yeah, I think you might be right on that one. Okay, moving on. So I wanted to talk to you about the Shelfolk decks, mainly the newer versions that run Fizz and Glorious. What is it? Glorious
Evolution. Yeah,
Evolution. Right.
So if you're not familiar with the PNZ Shelfolk deck, Basically, what it does is you play Curious Shelfolk, the 6-mana 4/6, and then you play a bunch of cards that like activate its effect. So like pranks. You basically get to prank your opponent and steal one of the cards, discounting it by 1. Time Trick, Conchologist, Trinket Trade is a really big one. And then you just amass like this insane amount of card advantage. You pair that with Glorious Evolution, which gives all your cards augment, makes all your cards created cards, and makes everything cost 1 less. Now your Otterpus, Trinket Trades, and Pranks, and Poro Cannons, the Poros from the Poro Cannon, all cost 0. And that's really important because you can cast Glorious Evolution with just a board of Curious Shelfolk and then build up an entire board and attack with them each for like 10 damage. And you pair that with Poro Cannon, where you get these like elusive attackers that you get to pump up with Augment, and all of a sudden like you just have a really good OTK on like turn 7. And it's like kind of hard to stop because you're getting pranked so many times while they're like going off. And now the deck's it's in flavor for like the last 2 or 3 days. People are kind of moving more back towards Vi, but Ikato posted a list he was running on Ladder where he sorry, I yawn so much when I'm on camera. I don't know what it is. It's something about being on camera. I just yawn all the time. He actually cut the Vi's. Yeah, sorry. In favor of 3 copies of Fizz. And the reason you run Fizz is because it's a 2-1 elusive that costs 0 after you've Glorious Evolution, and it gets pumped with Augment, but it's basically untargetable. Right? So unless you have like Mini-Morph Hush or something like that, Stress Defense, it's really, really, really tough to interact with him. And so it's like a really nice win condition. But because there's honestly not a ton of removal in the format that's not like Mini-Morph and stuff right now, I don't because like I don't know, Jace is kind of popular and stuff like that. I think people are moving back towards Vi to just control the board a bit more. But we'll see. The important part of the deck is Forge of Tomorrow is the new card that's being added. And it's so good because not only do you not want to run a lot of units because you want to have the spells for your turn where you go off, Forge of Tomorrow gives you a 3-round-3, which we talked about is really good. And then when you cast Glorious Evolution, you get mana back, which is so good because Glorious Evolution is 10 mana. But if you get 3 of it back, that's 3 spell mana, which isn't like insane or anything. But when all your cards cost 1 less and you already have such cheap cards, all of a sudden you get to start casting your Time Tricks, right? You cast your stuff off Conchologist. Like all this stuff that you couldn't cast before, you now can. And that's like a huge improvement.
Yeah. I remember when Akata was telling me about this deck. He's like, yeah, you cast Glorious Evolution, and then you play a couple Poros, and then you pump the crap out of them, and then you kill them. And I was like, what?
Yep.
You cast a 10-cost spell, and then you kill them with 1-drops? I'm like, what if they just kill your 1-drops? Like, hey, he's like, yeah, just kill them with something else. And I was like, I don't know about this, man. And then we played it for the first time, and I was like, oh, wow.
Oh, this is pretty good. Yeah.
This is kind of nuts.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the deck's definitely good, and it's been ripping up the tournament scene real hard. We're talking like taking first and second in a bunch of tournaments. Just went 4-0 in our Wednesday night Runeterra tournament. Why is it not ripping up the ladder though? What are the good bad matchups? What's kind of holding it down from being a ladder crusher?
It can struggle if you go under it. Like it really preys on the mid-range decks that just can't kill you fast enough.
Yeah, because it itself is also somewhat dirtily and like
it's slow. It's slow, and it cannot kill you until it gets to like turn 7 or 8. Right? It's not even threatening you until then. So when you're playing against like a slow mid-rangey deck, like I don't know, dragons, you have all the time in the world. You just don't have to worry about it. You're just like, yep, okay, yep, all right, Glorious Evolution, like, and I have all these cards. But when you get pressured really hard, you have to use your cards that you want to use when you go off or have Shelfolk on the board. Your Trinket Trades, your Time Tricks, your stuff like that. You have to burn them early to just not die. So often, even when you get to the Glorious Evolution turn, which you can usually do because you have like the Bandle City PNZ like removal early unit package, so it's pretty good at like stalling out. But even when you get to your Glorious Evolution turn, you no longer have what you need to kill them, right? I'm out of Trinket Trades. I had to use them to make Otterpus.
Yeah, and even like
Yeah,
Shelfolk, they'll drop Shelfolk, and then like you can't get a bunch of value out of it.
Exactly,
Like, you have one spell left if you're
Yeah,
lucky, kind of thing.
or like, all you have is your pranks, right? So you play like, because you had to burn your trinket traits to play a blocker. And so you play Shelfolk, and you can't immediately prank, and they just kill your Shelfolk, and you're like, well,
Yeah,
darn.
not so hot. Not so hot.
But honestly,
So-
I haven't played it enough to know. I don't know the
to know
matchup super
exactly
well.
what it's like.
I'm learning it, but I can't weigh in with any sort of like real confidence.
And then how much did you play the Lux Poppy version?
Not a lot.
Okay.
That was popular when I was not in the state, when I was in like Texas and Florida. So I didn't really get to play it.
So yeah, Lux Poppy was, I remember it being kind of like, it was a deck, but it definitely got tighter. It got better after we played it originally.
Yeah.
Because like, we had some early versions. So I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on like comparing the two.
I will be
I know,
playing it again this weekend. I'm going to be putting some time into it. I also have the
Okay.
Riot Grand Prix on Sunday. Are you
I
playing
do
in
as
that?
well. Yeah.
Playing in it? Okay, yeah. And so I want
Come
to
hang
see
out.
Yeah, we'll be on Twitch. Sunday at noon?
Sunday at noon it starts, yeah.
Sunday at
It's,
noon.
this is Riot Grand Prix. It's for all the League Partner Program members and the one person that they invite as a guest.
Mhm.
Shout out to Monte Cristo.
I think I invited
boy.
What Am I? We just kind of throw, well, for me, I just like throw it in like the team chat. I'm like, who wants to go? You know? At least that's what I did last time. I think I invited What Am I twice now. Because he's like, that guy will play any tournament. He doesn't care.
He loves tournaments.
He loves tournaments.
Okay.
We're talking about Lux Poppy. So I plan on
Yes.
putting some time into that deck, probably tonight, maybe a bit tomorrow. Although tomorrow's pretty busy because I'm going to be watching Arcane Arc 2.
Oh, that's right.
I'm
Oh,
so
I keep
stoked.
forgetting, and then I
Yeah.
keep seeing reminders. I'm like,
Like,
yes, give it to me.
oh
Give it
man,
to me.
it's so good.
That
show's so good.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like it's gonna get better too. That's my
I'm excited to see. Okay, I'm excited to see Jinx, not
Yeah.
Powder. I'm
Not
excited
Powder,
to see
Jinx.
Jinx. Right.
Yeah.
If you haven't, go watch it. Like right now, it's really good.
Spoilers. Okay, so you think Fizz Shelfolk is tier 1, or
I
very
think
close to
the Shelfolk deck in the hands of a competent pilot who's practiced is a tier 1 deck. I would not even consider myself a competent pilot yet.
Would you also say that about Lisa and Zoe?
Yes. Especially if Plunder and Scion continue to be two of the three most well-performing decks. Lee Sin absolutely just punches them in the mouth or kicks them because it's Lee. That's more appropriate.
Yeah, you gotta use the right
Sorry.
analogy. Okay, anything I want to talk about some of these other decks in the meta. Anything else you want to talk about in regards to the Shelfo decks?
Nope, it's sick.
Other thoughts?
It's fun. If
It's
you're
sick
looking to
to
like
play it.
just play a sick
Some
deck,
people
just
really
sure.
hate it because
Oh,
it's like not fun to
yeah.
play against.
They
Your
can
opponent's
suck
just
it.
like
It's
la
fine.
la 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 la.
I think
la,
the
la, la,
problem
la, 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 la.
people don't like it because their opponents are inexperienced with it, so they take a really long time and they take like suboptimal routes to actually kill them. So it takes like forever. Like if you play against me and I cast Glorious Evolution and I can kill you, you're dead in 30 seconds, right? Like I'm pretty quick.
Don't
with
worry, baby. I got you. I'm gonna finish you so fast.
it.
You're
Oh
dead.
my god.
You're
Well,
dead. Put the knife in.
it
twist.
sucks sometimes when you play against like the Zillion Auction deck, the Infinite. It would take
Oh,
forever, right?
Oh, that was
And so
different.
an incompetent Shelfolk pilot feels a little like that. It's not that bad,
Yeah.
right? But they're casting all the stuff they don't need to cast. They're like playing it in the wrong order, so their cards aren't getting super pumped up. But like when you have it and you know you have it, you just go like boom, 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 boom. You're not taking a long time to decide on your pranks because it doesn't matter.
I mean, it can take a little bit of time.
Yeah, it
takes
can.
some
It
time.
can. But
You
it
can
shouldn't
sit
take
there
like
for a while.
5 minutes. But I have seen it take like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
like,
it's
oh
also
my
like
God.
I think it's infuriating to fight against a deck
That just
that
kills
like
you.
maybe you do that just kills you that maybe you don't totally understand, and that it feels like you're fighting like quicksand.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know, I'm just throwing everything at it. They won't die, and then now I died.
You cast this spell and I die. And okay, people have always and will always hate playing against combo decks. It's just part of it.
Yeah.
It's how it is, which sucks because I love and will always love playing combo decks. It's fun.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy all of it though. Okay, speaking of other decks, So Plunder has been ripping
Really
up the
good.
ladder.
Really good. Yeah, I might play some Plunder after this, actually.
Do you think people kind of just like, I don't know, we're just busy trying other stuff
Yes.
for a while?
I do.
Because, like, I mean, it's always been there. It's always been around. It's always had like a high win
Plunder's
percentage, but
been-
now it's like
It's
60%.
really high. Yeah, Plunder's been tier 1 for a long time. And then even when it wasn't like ladder tier 1, I guess, it was still like one of the best performing tournament decks around. It's just really good, and its nut draws are like impossible to beat.
Yeah. Its nut draws are
You
ridiculous.
just play leveled Gangplank on 6 and attack, and you're like, that sucks. I guess I'll go next, right? Like, there's not.
Yeah,
not a
so
lot
like,
you can do.
are there decks that like have come in and out of vogue that would have made it a better or worse choice?
Lee Sin. Lee Sin was really popular for a little bit, and that's a horrible matchup for Plunder. They just can't deal with Lee. Because, like, Eye of the Dragon is so good, and then the actual card Lee Sin is, like, impossible for them to kill unless you mess up or get put in a really bad spot. And you'd think, like, oh, but they have Sejuani freeze. But, like, Lee's not going to combo kill you. They're just going to sit there, play Eye of the Dragon, sit behind it, get Lee, and just kick your Sejuani every turn. So, like, there's 6 mana for you. You just have to replay Sejuani every single turn, and eventually they just get through.
Yeah. Also, you could just hush open, which I
Exactly.
find
That happens a lot, too. Yeah.
Games.
You're going to get there as Lee Sin if you don't, like,
Yeah.
die early.
I really enjoy the Ping City deck, but it is doing significantly worse than Plunder, and it's like basically the same sort of thing, which makes me sad because I really like that deck.
I think it's too slow now.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm still gonna play it.
That's fine. I'm not going to blame you for that. I play bad decks all the time.
I enjoy it.
Mhm.
I just enjoy it. And then, okay, what about Rally Elusives? I have not seen a lot of it.
Zed
Probably
Poppy.
because I'm too low down and I haven't played. Yeah, sorry, Zed Poppy is what I should call it. I've been playing enough, but like that was ripping up the ladder like at the beginning of the season, and it's like still ripping up the ladder. Over 60% win percentage in Master is absurd.
It's kind of nuts. Yeah, it's just really, really, really good.
Yeah, and like, are there just no natural predators for it, or like, what's the deal? Why
The
is like the
natural
meta not
predators are being
correcting?
kept down by Scion.
Right, because
The
Scion
natural-
beats up
yeah,
on like
the natural
PNC.
predator of these like Zed rally decks are like the PNZ Noxus decks.
Yeah.
You know, the Ravenous Flock type decks or the Bilgewater Noxus decks. With like Swain, TF, that kind of stuff, right? But you like these decks are so bad into Scion, like so bad, because they like in their entire repertoire of cards they can pick from, they just don't have anything that deals with Scion. There's so many times where like I'm playing against Scion with some deck, PNZ Noxus or Noxus Bilge or whatever, and I'm at 19 life and I have full control of the board, and then they just play Scion and I just lose the game.
Yeah.
You're like,
Feels
well, can't deal with
bad.
that. And you just lose.
Feels
Sick.
real bad.
They hit you once, they kill their Scion, they attack again, and they throw 6 points of burn at your face. And that's it.
It's an interesting point you bring up because I've really disliked Scion for this exact reason, because this is where it sits in the meta. But what if there was just better answers to it in these regions?
There isn't.
Yeah, no, there's not.
No, I've scrolled through. I'm like, I can
when
play
Scion
Sunk
first
Cost.
came out.
Like,
I think
yeah.
everyone was like, "What is there?"
Look through
What
the whole
is there?
card list.
What
But
is
there
there? There's
isn't.
nothing.
Yeah. And if there was anything, I think it'd be like way better.
So that's what I'm saying. Rather than touching Scion, what if the answer is we need to print some better answers?
I'd be fine with that. I'm
Just
totally
in
okay with
general.
that. How
you know?
about
like
I
how many
will-
decks just can't deal with Poppy? They're like, oh, just die. Or like not efficiently.
less than you think, you know, like because those decks are unplayable. Decks can usually kill an X3, right, by turn 4, or at least get big enough on board to block well. But Scion's like just hard to interact with in a whole different way. I think if we could get a little bit of Targon help, Scion will go down because Targon just slaps Scion, man.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Targon just sucks so bad right now.
Mhm.
Scion also just levels a little bit too easy.
Oh,
Like, what-
he's just guaranteed level on 7.
Is it 30? He's 35 right now, right? So
Yeah, and he
put him up
counts
to, like,
himself.
Yeah, which is absurd. You just
So
put him
he
to,
hits
like,
the board at
40.
7.
Or make him not count himself.
Make him not count himself. I like that one a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just do
like
other. Slip in a little other in there.
Get other in there. Good to go.
Yeah,
non-Scion cards.
I tend to hate decks or dislike decks that completely prevent you from playing a lot of other decks. So like I know you loved it, impressive. But TLC was like this.
Get out.
I know. I know you liked TLC. But TLC kept you from playing so many things.
I hated TLC when it first came out because it crapped all over everything I was doing, and then I learned to love it because I started crapping on everyone else.
Yeah, it was a good deck. But you're like, okay, well, I just can't play anything that doesn't kill my opponent by turn 8 because I just lose.
Yeah,
and that felt
there was
so
a lot
bad.
Of stuff.
And
that's
even
the late game, like late game stuff. Like there was, and then like a lot of like weenie stuff too because like all the avalanches and stuff.
People, it was really oppressive, and that's what Scion feels like. Even if Scion's not like the best deck. If it shows up in big numbers, it changes the format so badly.
Yeah, and this brings me to sort of like segueing into like this other topic I want to talk about is I feel like they're going too far with these changes. I think they need we were just talking about this earlier, like more often but smaller also, because so far we've seen there's like every now and then they get one kind of just right. I feel like Twisted Fate maybe.
Okay.
Twisted Fate, he was maybe too good, and like now it's like I still play
Ezreal. We didn't play back then. Have you read old Ezreal?
Oh, I don't know Ezreal.
Old Ezreal used to level on eight pings or whatever, like 8 targets instead of the 6 it currently is. Mm-hmm. But he would deal 2 damage no matter what spell you cast. So if I cast 3 puff caps, I would deal you 6 damage. Yeah. So I really like that change.
Ezreal's really good.
I think the last patch was actually like one of the best patches we've ever gotten. The problem is that it's one of the best patches we've ever gotten if we were getting a regular balance patch every month.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, this is the thing. Like, Nami's dead now.
Yeah,
remember
she's kind of
Nami
bullshit.
deck?
I'm not going to lie. I'm not
going to die on the hill of Nami, but, like, I don't know. Fiora, dead. Aphelios, dead. What was it? Oh, how about, what's the other one that I love? Thresh, Nasus, dead. Like just the laundry list.
Nasus had a lot of things going against it. Like once Bandle City came out, Nasus was not going to exist anymore.
Nasus, too long since I missed my baby. If he had Fearsome still, I think he'd be totally fine. I think I could still play him.
Yeah.
Often I'm like, you would be so dead right now if this had Fearsome. They're like 1-1.
I mean, he gets
knocked.
That deck can't beat Minimorph.
Okay, well, I don't know if that's true or not. Anyway, but what I'm trying to get at is that...
Hi, kitty.
God damn it, cat. For anyone that's listening to the podcast, my cat joined the podcast about halfway through. Has been chilling on my lap, but now she's
hanging out
in the frame. Anyways, but it's too much. They're going too far. We need like little tweaks, and then just continually push, and then also pushing the stuff that sucks, pushing it back up.
I think the last patch did that. I think it did it pretty well. Like, Leona followers got a little bit. It wasn't enough, but it was a little bit, right? Targon got a little bump. Solari Priestess is a 2/2. Lunari
Dragon's got a little bump.
Yeah, Dragon's got a pretty big bump. It still sucks, but like that's what you want to see, right? And that's what I'm saying. It's like one of the best patches we've ever gotten. If we were getting patches like that every single month, it'd be like,
or even every 2 weeks.
That's a lot to ask.
That was a lot. But if it was smaller in every 2 weeks.
Yeah, you do that. Like League.
Yes. Yeah. And I guess that's maybe just too much to ask for or whatever. But like that's really that's the sweet spot. Like sorry, my cat's trying to
cat's playing with your headphone line.
Cat's trying to eat my headphone mic right now. Stop. No, stop chewing on it. These are bows. Oh my god. Okay, anyways. Yeah, because like too many of them have died. Too many of them are just gone for forever. And like, I thought that was okay when I thought that they'd be coming back. Like Fiora, I was like, get Fiora out of here for a while, bring her back. But now I'm like, we haven't seen like much of anything come back.
Fiora would be really good right now. Fiora would be a very good card right now. With all the Bandle City stuff. Like if they're forced to minimorph your Fiora, you're just like, dope. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
And there's all these like little units. Yeah. yeah, I would like to see some changes, and I think we will in the future, especially now that all the regions are out. You know what I mean? Like a new region being added shakes up the meta. Is more a question mark than new cards being added to already existing regions. So I expect, this is complete speculation, but I expect that the balance team, instead of making these changes to things that already exist, would go, okay, let's just release Bandle City and like kind of see what happens, right? And then we'll make our move. But like if all the regions are already there and set, then you can go, okay, well, we're adding some new cards to Targon,
do some bomb stuff,
which is already pretty good. Maybe we should up some of the other regions and maybe bring some of the Targon staples down a bit, right? It's a little more easy to keep that balance because there's not some completely random element being added. Again, complete speculation.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It'll be I'm looking forward to that January patch and I guess March patch.
I'm looking more forward to the set of December, but yes, also looking forward to the January patch.
Yeah, sorry, that's actually what I meant to say. And then I got the month wrong, and then I got the words wrong. Anyways, okay, well, with that, we'll just wrap it up here for this week. Thank you guys so much for listening. As always, check us out on masteringruneterra.com. We got lots of good stuff coming. We got Wednesday Night Runeterra happening every Wednesday. Come hang out if you want to get some testing in, try some lineups, try some decks out before seasonals. And then we'll see you guys on Monday for the Runeterra show. That's it for us. Have a great weekend. Oh, enjoy Arcane. Haha. Peace.